Welcome to the Fantasy Goons podcast, part of the Pucks Out family. It's time to skip the book and find out the info you need to win your league with Bobby, Davey, and Brandon.
Welcome into the Fantasy Goons. I'm Bobby, he's Davey, and he's Brandon.
Heyo.
You can find us on Twitter at the Fantasy Goons. Now let's get you the info you need to be a champ. How are you guys this week?
Wonderful. I'm feeling absolutely fantastic today. It's been a wonderful day. I'm finally seeing some growth out of my Dallas Stars, and we're seeing some wins finally, and they're not far behind. I'm feeling really happy right now.
They are. We actually talked a bit about that on the fantasy show, so I am in agreement with you.
You mean the non-fantasy show?
No, but Davey, we actually do a real fantasy show. We don't even release this one. We don't release this one.
I was wondering why I never heard myself.
He was like, oh, they must have cut this part. Yeah, no, on the non-fantasy show, they got a few less games played. The Preds,
yeah.
The two losses to the Hurricanes didn't help things.
Not at all.
It was a good win against Chicago, so that's good to have. Preds need to definitely step it up for sure.
But all right, let's move straight into the weekly impressions. I've got Anthony Mantha. Fresh start is looking good. He's playing over there with Backstrom and Oshie. His draft value for next year has skyrocketed.
What's there?
If he's not available in your league,
sorry.
Go snag him. If you're in the stretch run of your playoffs, he's a guy you should have right now. He's not available in any of my leagues currently.
Was there? Just trying to think if there was like one of us that suggested last week.
I think it was me. I think you might try to steal my thunder.
Was it?
Yeah.
You brought him up.
Yeah, it was you.
Oh, well, it was. Oh, guys, y'all don't have to brag about me like
who
that.
talked
It's
about
all
him a
good.
month ago? Well, 2 months ago. Sorry.
But when he was on Detroit,
Yeah. I dropped him.
I've been talking about him like a year ago, but it's like. But yeah. So listen, he's doing great over there with the fresh starts, looking good. Excited to see what he's got. And Davey, what do you have?
Well, this isn't even fantasy relevant, guys, and I'm sure you talked about this in the Pucks Out pod, the regular pod with Patrick Marlow, and I wanted to bring him up because this is huge for our world. This is huge. We've never seen this in our lifetime for the most games played ever. He had 1,596 games played in 21 seasons with the Sharks and 164 with Toronto. This is probably, I don't know if this is ever going to happen. Again, in a long time. It's going to take a minute. I don't know if you guys remember.
It's going to take at least 1,700 games. At least.
But he was huge impact for fantasy hockey back in the day, and I think that was huge. I remember I've had him on my teams over I remember the 2017 season I had him, and that was one of his last big years where I think he had put up over 20 goals, and so he's been a fantasy relevant guy in his career, and obviously not so much now, so it doesn't really mean a whole lot to the show, but I think it's important to reflect on how he's been as a fantasy owner, having him in the past, and how he's actually performed incredibly well, and good for him. Hats off to him for a hell of a career, and yeah, I'm excited about this.
I don't know. He passed Gordie Howe.
He passed Gordie Howe.
Yes. To be fair, Gordie Howe played like 332 seasons. So
yeah, it seems like it.
I had a ridiculously high number on both shows, and they're both different. I didn't have like a specific number in mind, but I agree. Yeah. And we were talking about a little bit like how he's like a guy that you don't hate either.
No,
like he's not like Barry Bonds breaking the home runs record type of.
And I don't know if you remember,
so.
but when it was like fantasy episode number 2, and I brought up Patrick Marlow. And I was like, well, he's on the Sharks. And remember we had that argument. He was like, no, I think he's on this. And we didn't know where he was at the time because obviously it didn't really matter. But it was cool to like, we brought him up because you always bring that name up. It seems like you used to at least. And so this year, obviously not so much. But I just think it's funny that this is happening and we brought him up for no reason.
And apparently. I like that it's, you like you mentioned on the main show, like it happened to a guy that, relatively well liked.
Yeah.
He's kind of and he's also a household name.
For
you
sure.
know, listen, he played a little bit with the Penguins, but at the end of the day,
I'd say
he's
a hockey household name. Like, I don't think you just roll up into any house, be like, Patrick Marlow, what do you think?
I mean, yeah.
Should be like, who?
No, they'd be like, yeah, Patrick Marlow. He's up there with like Phil Rock.
What are you doing in my house?
Say you know who he is. Bon, what do you got?
Love it. I have something a little more fantasy relevant. Taylor Hall, what up with it? Tino, I mean, he's in his 4 games, and a current game is going on right now. 2 goals and an assist. I think that definitely matches his goal numbers that he had with Buffalo. Yeah. I think he's probably right up there in points wise as well. I mean, we talked about it. It could either work or it couldn't. It was a great move by Boston. Whether or not it did work, I think it's where I mean, this is the first real contender this guy has been on. You know, I think he's excited to, you know, even if they don't win the cup, I think he's excited for that actual possibility. Like, I don't think that Taylor Hall ever thought that Arizona team was winning the cup. I don't think that Taylor Hall ever thought that New Jersey team was winning the cup. I think that he thinks this is a real opportunity for him. And I mean, he's still low time on ice. Like, we're talking like 14, 15 minute average right now. Mm-hmm. You have to imagine that's probably going to go up a bit. So, I mean, it's making that live on air bet that I made for Boston to win the Cuz. I'm feeling it right now. I am feeling it, you know, and Boston's one of those teams that I don't think that they have to get to a specific, you know, spot. Like, there's no team that Boston cares if they have to play or not. Where there are other teams that are like, oh, well, we really want that one spot, or we really want this spot, you know, so we don't have to play this team or this team. I don't think Boston cares, you know. So I'm really looking forward to what he can do there. So that would be my weekly impression.
I like that. I like that a lot. He's actually still playing second line right now with Krejci and Smith. It's been a cool one to see too. And he's now playing forward on the second power play unit. I noticed a couple games he was playing forward when initially last week we talked about him playing that D spot. Yeah. But that's what's been happening. So he's still got power play time. Good for Taylor Hall.
Real quick fantasy. Throughout the entire year, the entirety of this year, we got a bunch of leagues together and stuff, but we have pretty much one main category league together. And we were smack talking Bobby, dude, all year. He has been terrible in that league. This dude has slipped into that 6th playoff spot, and I think he's playing you, right? Yeah, you guys are playing each other.
As of today, I'm winning. It's Tuesday though, so I'm
on a bye. But as is tradition on this league,
I got you in high score this week though. We're playing in the semis, aren't we?
That is true.
Yeah,
that is true.
High score keeper or regular high score?
But our categories league, I got a bye. So as is tradition, I'll dominate all season, get a bye, and I'm going to lose next week. Don't worry about it. Neither of you guys will have to see me in the championship, bros. So congrats. Like, we all made it. It's a pretty solid playoffs. This is like the perennial all-stars of the playoffs this year.
And it's this league. It's right about the time I've started getting hot again in those 2 leagues.
You have, dude. So, you are dominating right now, bro.
So
like, it's early, but
I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to be at the show. Well, dude, just hoping everyone has fun.
There was a couple of times like where you were like not only in last place in that league, but like bad. Last place. And like, it was a very impressive run to come back. It was a really close race to get into the playoff. Like, it came down to the last. I almost didn't get my top seed.
Yeah.
I was looking rough early week, and then I came through as usual, per usual. So
yeah, it happens.
So congrats to you guys. Any leagues that you guys made playoffs? Awesome. Listeners at home, but we got some pickups for you, right?
Yes.
Bob, what do you got, bro?
I got Devin Dubnek. He's currently 37% rostered. Currently, Grubauer is out, I believe, with at least a minimum 1 more week from when this will air. He's got respectable numbers, and listen, if you're in the playoffs right now, he'll fill a starting spot for a goalie, and he's a decent goalie for what you're getting on a team that has a good defense in front of him.
I would say most certainly good for wins. Like if you have wins are a category that you're playing in, or you get points for wins, that's a really good. I mean, 37% rostered in this goalie landscape is not nearly enough. I think that's a really good call.
Yeah, and you remember earlier in the year when I was talking about Dubnek going to the Sharks, and we brought that up, and I was
that could have
excited.
been.
I was pumped about it, right? I was like, oh man, Dubnek is on the Sharks. This is great. This is awesome for the Sharks. This is gonna be awesome. He's a great goalie. This and that. I like it even more now, like, because he's playing for a way better team now. So and now he's getting an opportunity to play a lot of games. He's a guy, go get him right now, especially because he's playing for the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like the move by Colorado. I think it's something that they definitely needed. Not that because they have bad goalies, but they can have goalies that can't stay healthy.
Right,
so I mean,
exactly.
that's say what you want about Dubnik, but dude's usually there when you need him in the crease.
Yeah.
So that's necessary. I have Nico Hischier. He has not been performing fantastically or anything lately. I mean, a guy that's only 24% rostered, he's playing around 20 minutes a game. They have a really big week this coming up week, 4 games, 2 against the Bruins Monday and Tuesday, 2 against the Islanders Thursday and Saturday. There should be some goals scored in that game. You think that he may turn it on a little bit. I mean, the Devils have lost anything and everything on that roster there. But a guy that's been out, most of the season, 4 points in 9 games. I mean, this is the time that, you gotta take those risks if you want to stream in a guy and get some wins. I mean, when it comes to streaming, are you taking that guy who's got some name value, or just that random guy that happens to have a lot of ads on Yahoo? And, my thing is, if the choice is up there, I'm always going to try to take that guy with a little bit of name value that, is, playing for a contract, or, is as a younger guy that knows he's not going to win, but doesn't care because, he wants to create his NHL legacy. I think that's just a good option with what's available right now, if you get an opportunity to grab him. He is only center eligibility, so there may be some better options out there. I really like your pick, Davey. Obviously, I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but you had taken it, and so therefore I would not take it. So.
I like the Hischier pick though, because it's kind of left to center. You don't expect that. It's not a guy that you're like, okay, he's getting up there. Everyone's picking him up right now. No.
Right. I mean, that's a deep position, so you may not be able to find some space in your roster for it. But if you're needing a center, I mean, you're going to get the face-off win. So if that's what you're needing, face-off wins are great. I mean, time on ice beats anything almost always because, a little extra shot on goal, a little extra, a quick hit here and there. So especially this time of year, you want your guys on the ice to try to score you some points.
Definitely. So I'm running Sam Bennett this week. This is kind of obvious. I mean, if you go on to your Yahoo League or your ESPN League, he's pretty much up there in the top for most added, one pretty close to it at least. He's still sitting at only 27% rostered in Yahoo Leagues. Will go up by the time this airs, guaranteed. Center, left wing, right wing.
What'd you say his percentage was?
27%.
30 now.
Exactly. I did that, like 2 hours ago?
Now 31.
Now 31. So that's going up.
He's 100% owned, guys. We're live streaming this.
Right, it's gone. So I grabbed him 2 days ago, and he panned out great. I think he got a goal and 2 assists in his first game in, something like that. I could be wrong there, but I was pretty close, and it felt good. Got a good situation out of it. He's now playing for the Florida Panthers, as most people know now. He's centering the second line with Huberdeau and Duclair, which great line, excellent line. Love to see that. We're talking about Sam Bennett, guys. Nobody they don't think in their head Sam Bennett is an all-star. He's a great hockey player, and he's not. He really not. But
we're not here to tell you all-stars.
Not at all. That's not what we're doing.
That's on our all-star podcast.
Reminder. 2015 season, 2016 season.
That's what I was about to say,
I mean, he was a stud. I mean, I know it's 18 goals, 18 assists, but still, he was young. That was his second year in the league he did that. He went on to do 13 goals, 11 goals, 13 goals, which is not incredible, but he still stuck around the late 20s, early 30s mark for points. This is a guy that can actually perform when he's playing in real level situations, good lines, good teams. Sam Bennett is going to make a difference to this team, and they really could use it right now with some of their injuries. So
I would argue his biggest benefit, I mean, as well as he's playing, point wise, scoring wise, I would argue his biggest benefit is, oh, by the way, he scored today too. So
nice.
So great call.
Beautiful.
His biggest, he's a freaking cat monster, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, he's great. I'm sure he's great in some points leagues and stuff. But like as far as a category league, it's hard to beat that triple eligibility.
Yeah.
When he's going to get you points across the board. It's something to be said with this guy's not going to score maybe he doesn't score points, but you're still not sad to have him on your roster. Great call for sure.
All right, let's move into our streams of the week. I'm going to start off with the Kings. Now, I know what you're thinking there. The Kings, well, not so fast, my friend. The Kings aren't out of the playoff picture yet. They got games in hand and 7 points out of fourth place. They play the Ducks 4 times this week. They're going to be making that push. They want that playoff spot. So if you got Kings player, stream them. If you got some room to pick up, if you've got, if you're in the playoffs and you got some guys who don't have a lot of games left this week, and maybe it's your championship week, drop those guys, pick up some Kings players.
I love the pick, but it sounds like you're working for HR for the Kings, bro. Like just like how you phrased that, like you're like just
Selling
like,
it.
come on, go and pick up the King. Yeah, like no, I really love the pick. Though.
Come on down for peanut free night.
Yeah, come on down to LA.
Davey, what do you got?
Yeah, so I'm running Minnesota Wild this week. I feel like this is an easier week for them. 4 games against the St. Louis Blues. They're still
It's like it's the easiest week for any team, really.
I think so too.
Basically like playing the COVID nuts.
Right. And Wild are playing good hockey, so I expect a lot of things out of them. They've won 6 of their last 10 as of this recording. That's going to change. They did lose 2 to the Blues a few weeks back, including a 9-1 loss to the Blues, but the other one was an overtime loss. So it's interesting because, yes, you're saying, oh, well, you picked the Wild to stream this week, and they lost to the Blues last time 9-1, and they play them 4 times. Dude, they're pumped. Like they want to come back and like annihilate.
Besides the fact that you don't get points for team wins, dude.
No, you don't. Yeah,
well, some goalies do.
Well, sure, because they get the win.
Yeah, right. Well, I fully expect the Wild to come prepared, and they're going to take at least 3 or 4 from the Blues. I think they're going to come angry. I think they're going to say, "Hey, look, that was a fluke." They need to show the league that was a fluke. They need to show people that was a fluke. That's what I think they're going to do. There's options there, fantasy streaming options. Zuccarello, 10 goals, 17 assists. He's like only 30% owned, something like that. Greenway, 8 goals, 20 assists, 67 hits, 21 blocks. There's another guy you can grab in cat leagues and other leagues. Eriksson Ek, I've talked about him before as well. 14 goals, 8 assists, 78 hits, 32 blocks. These are guys that are less than 30% owned that you can go get right now to help bolster your roster. Wild
are so under-rostered for sure. I mean, it's just by the nature of their play style. Like people don't think that they're going to, I mean, I guess, and it just depends on what kind of, league you're in. You're in a categories league, bro. Go find some Wild players. They're gonna hook you up. And so I think I can't 100% remember, but I think that for this past week, my loser was the Oilers. They have two games.
Right.
Like that's not a lot, and that's not going to be great. Generally, what is normally the first week of the playoffs. Oilers this week, I mean, if you could have held on to them through this past week, I mean, they have 4 games, Monday against the Jets, Wednesday against the Jets, Thursday against the Flames, Friday or Saturday against the Flames. If this is a team that you were able to hold on to through that 2-game week, it's something that it's a team that I'm definitely looking at. I mean, Puljujarvi is still widely available. Mike Smith is a guy that you can get. They have players across the board on both teams or on all positions that are going to be available. That it's just a team that they're going to want to solidify their spot in that Scotia North Division. I'm definitely streaming them hard this week if I get an opportunity to.
Yeah, I have Smith in 2 leagues. Still going to ride him out. Yeah. He's a good goalie. He's filled a void for me during a tough goaltender season. I like that pick.
Yeah, good pick. All right, let's move into our tail and fade. I'm tailing Vegas. They got 2 games this week against the high-flying Avs and 2 against the Yotes, who are pushing. And the Knights want that number 1 seed. The Avs are right on their tail. They've Avs have game in hands, but honestly, I'm kind of hoping this because I got some money on it. But also, I hope the Golden Knights keep that number 1 spot in the division at the end of the year. Davey, what do you got?
I'm running the Dallas Stars. The Dallas Stars have finally won 3 consecutive games in a row for just the second time this season. Wow. Never thought I'd say that, as I thought that they were going to be a really good team this year coming off last year's cup run. They've also only won consecutive games 3 times this season. So they haven't gone on winning 2 games multiple times. Only 3 times, guys, 3 times. And that has just happened twice this month. And then once early, first 2 games against Nashville.
Wow.
So isn't that crazy to think about? So that's wild to me. They've only won 3 of 15 in overtime and shootouts. They are terrible in pass regulation. Sagan should get back by the end of April, potentially this week. That's going to be huge for the team. I think things are turning around for Dallas. I think Dallas might sneak in, guys. I know you hate to hear that as Preds fans, and I know it's tough to think about, but I think Preds are starting to kind of, not that they're not hot, because they still are, but they've lost a couple now, and they're starting to look like maybe that was,
and they got the hard part of their schedule coming
it's
up.
It's a hard part.
These games against Chicago, they need all of them.
Yeah, they need them all. And Chicago's dropped. Nashville is just barely hanging on to that 4th spot, and this could change by the time of recording. And I don't think it will because of who the Preds are facing this week with the Blackhawks, or last week, I should say, based on timing when we do this. But yeah, Dallas Stars, guys, hang on. They're not done yet. They've got Sagan coming back. Things are they're going to get interesting, and I'm excited for this Central Division.
I have I'm going to be tailing the Carolina Hurricanes. They are playing great hockey right now. 4 games this week. Monday, Tuesday against the Stars, Thursday against the Red Wings, and Saturday against the Blue Jackets. Those are, the Stars are surging right now, but if there's a team that is, I would argue, is surging more than the Stars right now, it would be the Hurricanes.
Definitely.
I think that this is going to be, the Preds did drop a couple to the Hurricanes. I think that this could be Dallas's downfall here is Hurricanes ain't losing hockey games right now. Mm-hmm. And with 2 Stars games, a Detroit game, and a Columbus Blue Jackets game, I don't think that there is a group of 4 games that Carolina could ask for that would be better than these 4. Mm-hmm. They want to solidify. They have that youth that really wants to solidify that spot. They've got 2 less games played than Florida. They're tied at the top as we record this. Tampa is knocking on the door behind them with 1 more game played, but a 1 less point. Those 3 spots is basically a Cupid shuffle at this point. Where are they going to land in between those 3? I don't think that those 3 spots are in question in that division, but I think they really want to shore up, because let's be honest, if you're the Hurricanes right now, would you rather play Florida or Tampa or Nashville or Dallas? I think that this is, there's not many that, they're all roughly the same. I think that the Central Division number 1 spot is probably the most coveted of the number 1s in all of these divisions.
For sure.
So
agreed.
So I think that they're going to have a really good week, and I'm definitely going to be following them, tailing them this week.
Take us right into your fade.
I'm going to be fading, again, a Central Division team, the Blackhawks. They have, as strong as they were early season, they have really dropped off hard. 3 games this week. There's only 1 team that has 2 games this week, and it was stolen from me. So I'm not going to say anything about that, baby. But no, Lightning on Tuesday, Panthers on Thursday, Panthers on Saturday. So a 3-game week, 2 of the better teams in the division, and all heavy game days. It's a rough sell on a team that's kind of slipping right now. That, I still like Suter if you can get the opportunity to get him. Obviously, you're not going away from Patrick Kane if you can get him. A 3-game week is not horrible. But it's one of those things that, look, if I can avoid if it's a choice between another team and a Blackhawks player, I'm probably going to go with that other option. If I get an opportunity with the Blackhawks, they're just not playing well as of late, in my opinion. So,
Thank goodness we all agree that we do not like the Blackhawks here. So
well, I mean, even if they had not lost a game, even if they were 47-0 right now, we can all agree the Blackhawks suck. Dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
we can.
Okay, Stars fans, Preds fans, some guy that's never heard of hockey. We can all agree.
Davey, what do you got?
Columbus Blue Jackets.
Best choice of the loser group for
And
sure.
not because they're only playing 2 games this year, this week.
They wish, buddy.
Right,
They
Let's
wish.
just call it 2 games. But yeah, they've 3 losses in a row and are now officially behind the Red Wings in the Central. What?
Wow.
That's embarrassing. I mean, they're behind the Red Wings now, guys. Like, what? And now I'll get to it. Just wait. Werenski's out for the season. Boone Jenner's out for the season. Guys, I was dead wrong about this team.
Hey, technically, Nick Foligno is out for the season for them.
He is. They no longer have Nick Foligno.
Now the ball's just in the Flyers and
But the
my
Flyers,
court.
Oh, bro,
they just
you
don't look good.
Bro,
They don't look good.
I am watering both y'all. They're like, this has been the best bet that I've ever been a part
have
of.
officially lost. I was dead wrong about the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Bobby's lost too, dude. Don't let him fool you. He's lost too, dude. You guys have both lost.
You're hanging on. You've got a chance.
Best part,
I have no chance.
The best part about this for me is Bobby lost game of the week to the Flyers this week, dude. Like, we're in a close, heated battle, and the Flyers, the team that he defended staunchly before this season started, has yet again screwed him.
Did you water bet it too?
No, not that.
No,
Okay.
not that.
Okay.
Well, I actually lost a water bet to the Flyer. I mean, I technically have lost, but not that specific.
Well,
it was
the
just
Flyers, man. It's up all of these Flyers bets. It's like
Bobby is like super hyped on him, dude. He's just like, he loves him so much. Like he's like just like keeps digging his hole. It's like one of those situations where he's like, if you just double up the bet every time, eventually.
If I keep betting on the black and orange, eventually it'll come up.
Yeah,
one of these years.
Obviously, the
years.
Flyers are not in the position that the Blue Jackets are.
Yeah, Blue Jackets
but
are
again,
dead last.
the bet was
their
not
division.
the bet was not who would win more games, and that was stupid of you guys. You
Yeah.
guys should have just said who has the better season, but you guys were adamant about who's gonna go farther in the playoffs.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank
you guys
goodness.
were. But no, remember, because like y'all dealt me in like week 3, you're like, all right. I was like, well, if neither of them make it, I get to water both of you guys. And
It was just so promising. Like it was Max Domi comes in.
Well,
and
early
you got
on-
2 decent goalies, and
Well,
then you've
early
got
on-
Laine coming in and Roslovic.
early on, it
What?
was like all right, this is going to be a fun thing to like deal with all week, like to the point to where I was like hoping like this was going 2 or 3 weeks into the playoffs. And yeah, maybe we'll,
I don't know.
maybe we'll
Playoffs?
fake it. Yeah.
Talk about playoffs?
Not for the Flyers and Blue Jackets,
Hey,
buddy.
Look, if Tortorella's not there next season, I'm gonna
Then
do
you're
the
back
same
in.
bet. I'm gonna do this bet again.
I would love for this just to become an annual thing. Like,
The Flyers.
you two are not fans of either of the teams you're betting on,
no.
but just every season you're just so hardcore on the Flyers and Blue Jackets, dude. Like I would love it. And I'm just the neutral party that just gets to throw water on both of you when neither
Every
of them make the
single year
playoffs.
you
Yeah.
get to.
Yeah.
I was like, this is just really getting boring. Like I'm gonna
Because
pick
next year they'll both go in the playoffs, but both get kicked out the same round
yeah.
by the same amount of games.
Exactly.
I'm just gonna, cause I want you guys to water me. I'm gonna pick Detroit, and then they'll go win a cup.
Go win it.
And then they're gonna go win a cup, dude. They're like they've been on the rebuild.
But all right, to round us out, I'm fading the Blues as always, but more than usual this week.
Just like a general,
Yeah, just a general life
How many
update.
Blues fades do you have this year? I'd like
A
to go back.
blanket.
More than most people, I
a
bet.
blanket fade. Dude.
Listen, they've got the struggle bus is going to continue with them. They got 4 games against the Wild. And the Wild have a solid penalty kill. They've got an above average save percentage. The Blues offense is going to get shut down this week and pummeled by this Wild defense. So get ready for just an absolute just destruction of the Blues.
I knew that the Blues were coming as your loser this week because this is the first week since like the 17-week ago prediction where you're like the Blues are going down. This is the first week that they're not in a playoff spot. So I knew that they were coming this week. He's just like, well, what is that number 5 next to their name? It's got to be pretty bad, right? Like, yeah, no, I mean it was a good call. We gave you. I didn't give you like super hardcore crap about it, but I was like, I don't know about that type of deal. But, not looking great. I mean, they're only 1 point behind with 3 less games played, but yeah, I mean, you're looking right now as the standings sit. You are looking good. I mean, it wasn't a bad call.
Now.
Stop the count. Stop the steal, dude. Everybody's trying to rob the Yotes.
But all right, everyone, we will see you guys next week. Have a good week and good luck.
Peace.
This has been the Fantasy Goons podcast, brought to you by Standing Stone Farms. Listen to the boys every week and join in on the conversation on the 3 majors of social media.